before the earth was formed, before the oceans were poured into their basins, before the first human breath ever stirred the dust of the ground. There was heaven, and heaven was perfect. Billions of angels filled its courts, each one formed by the hand of God himself, each one given purpose, each one given a name, but among them all, one stood apart. His name was Lucifer, son of the morning, anointed cherub, the most beautiful, the most gifted, the most elevated being God had ever created. The prophet Ezekiel would later record what God himself said of him. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, and I placed you there. You were on the holy mountain of God. He wasn't just an angel. He was the crown jewel of all creation. His role was singular: to lead the heavenly host in worship of God, to stand closest to the throne, to reflect glory, not hold it. And for a time, an age we cannot measure, he did exactly that. But something began to change. It started as a whisper, not from outside, but from within. The most dangerous temptation Lucifer ever faced wasn't offered to him by anyone. It arose from the one place God cannot reach without permission: his own heart. Isaiah 14 records the 5 declarations that changed eternity. I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. 5 sentences, 5 I will statements, 5 steps away from the one who made him. Pride is a strange disease. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with darkness and fangs. It comes dressed in the language of self-worth, in the feeling that what you have been given should belong to you by right, not by grace. Lucifer began to look at the worship flowing through him to God and ask a question that had never been asked in heaven before. Why should it pass through me if I am this magnificent? He wasn't silent about it. Revelation 12 tells us that Lucifer drew 1/3 of the angels of heaven into his rebellion. 1/3 out of billions. The most sophisticated deception ever attempted was not aimed at humanity first. It was aimed at the hosts of heaven, and it worked. We don't know how long the rebellion grew before war broke out, but we know it culminated in open conflict. The archangel Michael was given the command. Revelation 12, verses 7 through 9. Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. And just like that, in the span of what Scripture calls a moment, the anointed cherub, the son of the morning, the most glorious being ever crafted by the hand of God, was cast out. Jesus himself, thousands of years later, would say with quiet certainty, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Like lightning, not slow, not negotiated, instantaneous and final. And here is where the story becomes personal for every human being who has ever lived. Because Lucifer, now Satan, did not accept his defeat. He could no longer reach the throne. He could no longer touch the angels who remained. But God had made something new, something made in his own image, as something that could be reached. And so, the war that began in heaven came to earth, and it hasn't ended. The fall of Lucifer was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of ours. If you want to understand spiritual warfare, the nature of temptation, or why evil exists in a world made by a good God, it starts here, with one angel. One choice, and the moment pride decided it deserved a throne. Subscribe for the next chapter. The story is only beginning.